Inbounds it to Hamby, and so now that'll be that. So the Indiana Fever come into here after losing 3 of their last 4 on
The most famous basketball player on the planet wasn't even on the court, but her fury from the sidelines exposed a scandal that threatens to tear the WNBA apart. The Indiana Fever just won a game they should have lost, but the victory was almost stolen by referees who seemed determined to rig the outcome. With Caitlin Clark and her teammates calling out the corruption, what should have been a celebration became a firestorm. This wasn't just a bad call, it was a glimpse into a problem so deep it could jeopardize the league's future. So, how did the Fever survive, and what does this officiating crisis mean for Clark's explosive return?
One common theme in the WNBA is how poorly officiated these games can be. The lack of competence from the people wearing the striped suits. Every time I watch a WNBA game, a thought crosses my mind when it comes to the officials, and that thought is, how much money do you have on this game?
The final seconds of the Fever vs. Sparks game felt like an eternity, stretched into a bizarre and suspicious spectacle. With Indiana clinging to a 1-point lead, the clock showed just 3.9 seconds. For the Fever, it was the most important 3.9 seconds of their season, a moment that could solidify their playoff hopes or send them spiraling. For the referees, it was an opportunity to turn a basketball game into a theatrical drama. The Los Angeles crowd was roaring, the tension was suffocating, and every whistle felt like it could shatter Indiana's dreams. But no one could have predicted just how many whistles were about to blow.
Man, I'm talking about right at the end of the game, when the nonsense was being called, and cheating was being speculated, right? Everybody was looking like how Caitlin Clark was looking by the end of that game last night with the Indiana Fever and the Los Angeles Sparks. Everybody was looking just like this, man. What in the world was going on?
What should have been a straightforward final play devolved into absolute chaos. As the Sparks tried to inbound the ball, the referees began intervening in ways that left players and fans baffled. A clock that mysteriously reset, a foul called on one end, while blatant contact was ignored on the other. Every time the Fever's defense made a perfect play, forcing a turnover or a tough shot, it felt like the officials simply hit a reset button, giving Los Angeles another chance. These weren't just judgment calls, they started to feel like lifelines, repeatedly thrown to the Sparks while the Fever were left to drown in confusion. The game was no longer being decided by players, but by a series of bewildering interruptions that felt suspiciously one-sided.
So let's take a look at this. All right, now it was 0.6 on the shot clock when this happened, okay? They had the ball, they were running around. I thought the game was over here, honestly. I thought the game was over, but they ended up calling the foul, saying, oh, the game is still going on. All right, whatever. They got the foul. Cool. So Kelsey Mitchell, she goes to the free throw line, right? And she missed both of them. Now, I think Kelsey Mitchell should have made both of them, all right? At least one of them. But she missed both of them, okay?
But the most shocking moment was yet to come. After Aaliyah Boston made a game-saving defensive stop, Kelsey Mitchell was sent to the free throw line with less than half a second left. She missed the second shot, and the ball caromed off the rim. The game should have been over. Instead, the referees huddled and made a decision that defied all basketball logic. They put 0.1 seconds back on the clock and gave the Sparks one final inbound. The call was so absurd it triggered an immediate outcry online. In what world can a team catch and shoot a ball in a tenth of a second? It was a physical impossibility, yet the officials granted it, handing the Sparks a final, miraculous chance that should never have existed.
But man, there is no way. Right at the end of the game, you should be on top of it. You telling me you're not paying attention to when some hands touch that ball? Come on, man. And then to reward them with the timeout, like, fam, that's crazy work. Look, Caitlin Clark, like, what is going on here? She's like, no. Look, Caitlin ready to run the floor, fam. She's like, no. What is this, man? What is this nonsense?
This wasn't just one bad night from the officials. It was part of a deeply troubling pattern that has plagued the WNBA all season. Fan bases across the league have been growing increasingly frustrated with bizarre timing decisions, phantom fouls and crucial moments, and endless replay reviews that only seem to add to the confusion. This incident felt different, though. It was so blatant, so illogical, that it fueled the darkest suspicions fans have harbored for months. Is the league's officiating simply incompetent, or is it something far more sinister? Clips of the 0.1 second inbound went viral, with fans and analysts accusing the league of embarrassing itself on a national stage.
Then they put 0.1 on the shot. 0.1 on the shot clock, fam. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? I mean, this is nonsense. How do you even have time to do anything? How do you even have time?
Somehow, amidst the chaos and the overwhelming sense that the game was being taken from them, the Fever refused to break. On that final, impossible inbound play, Aaliyah Boston stood like a brick wall at the rim, ensuring there would be no last-second miracle for Los Angeles. The ball bounced harmlessly away as the buzzer finally officially sounded. It was a victory earned not just against an opponent, but against the very officials meant to ensure a fair game. The win wasn't just about points on a scoreboard, it was a testament to Indiana's unshakable resilience, a quality they've had to lean on more than ever with their roster in shambles.
Oh my goodness, man. They did everything they could to try to get them a win in this one, fam. It's ridiculous. It was flat out ridiculous.
To understand the magnitude of this win, you have to look at who wasn't on the court for Indiana. Their superstar, Caitlin Clark, was sidelined, still recovering from injury. Their sharpshooter, Sophie Cunningham, was also out, crippling their offensive spacing. Two of their key ball handlers, Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald, were unavailable as well. And to top it all off, Lexi Hall took the floor looking like she had just stepped out of a prize fight, sporting two massive black eyes from a brutal collision in their previous game. Looking at that depleted lineup, everyone from fans to oddsmakers had already written the Fever off.
Steph mentioned, whenever she sees you with the two black eyes, she smiles in a way because it just exemplifies your toughness. Do you feel tough in these kinds of situations with these two black eyes?
I mean, that's what people keep telling me. Every time she sees me, she smiles and then she says, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, you don't need to be sorry. This is what it is. And when I'm playing, I forget about it, and then I go and look in the mirror. I'm like, oh shit, they're still there. So yeah, I don't really think too much about it because I don't necessarily feel them all the time.
Yeah, and you're still able to see completely fine.
Yep.
All right.
Nothing's changed.
All right, perfect. I think.
The script seemed pre-written, the short-handed Fever on the road would finally crumble under the pressure, and the Sparks would deliver a fatal blow to their playoff aspirations. Without Clark's gravity-defying range and Cunningham's shooting, Indiana's offense was supposed to be predictable and easy to defend. Without the backcourt depth from Colson and McDonald, the burden on Kelsey Mitchell was expected to be too much to bear. It was a perfect storm for a blowout loss, but one veteran player decided to rip that script to shreds and write a story of her own.
Sims left open for three. She got it. Offensive rebound. Sims the runner. Here's Howard. Shovels Sims right at the doorstep, and she gets it off the window. 3-on-3 the other way. Sims the take and finishes the lefty layup.
Odyssey Sims, who once wore a Sparks jersey herself, returned to her old home and played with a vengeance that was personal. She was relentless, attacking the rim and draining clutch shots all night, finishing with a staggering 21 points. When the game was on the line, with the referees seemingly trying to hand it to Los Angeles, it was Sims who took control. She scored the Fever's last 5 points, a cold-blooded display of poise under pressure that silenced the home crowd and delivered the dagger. It was a performance that reminded everyone that even without their biggest star, this Fever team had a veteran heart that refused to stop beating.
Sparks started the game on a 7-0 run. Here's Mitchell. Right back to Boston. And unable to get that one, but follows her on. Cameron Brink and Ray Burrell going to be checking in next time there's a stoppage for LA. Here's Turner in traffic, and she gets it up off the window.
Beautiful pass from Boston.
7 on the shot clock. Mitchell turning the corner. Jump stop in the lane, loses the ball. Brink throws it right to Boston. Easy layup.
And she wasn't alone. Aaliyah Boston was a force of nature, her dominance going far beyond her stat line. She controlled the paint, altering shots, snatching rebounds from double teams, and anchoring the defense when everything else was falling apart. Every time the Sparks made a run, Boston was there to stop the bleeding. Then there was Lexi Hull, playing through visible pain, throwing her bruised body after loose balls and locking down defenders with a tenacity that was inspiring. Her toughness became the team's identity, a living symbol of their refusal to make excuses or back down from a fight.
Sims. They kick it out. Hole of three.
Big bucket from Lexi Hull.
But the biggest story of the night unfolded on the bench. As the referees made one baffling call after another, the cameras panned to Caitlin Clark, and her face told the whole story. She wasn't just disappointed, she was furious. Her visible disgust with the officiating was a raw, unfiltered reaction that perfectly captured the feelings of every fan watching at home. She wasn't playing, but she made her presence felt, putting the league's biggest problem directly in the spotlight without saying a single word. Her anger was a silent protest that spoke volumes.
We have a deep team that a lot of people, a lot of players on our team could be playing and they're not. And that's a tribute to our depth, certainly, but also sometimes everybody wants to play, right? And I think the selfless nature of this group just can't be overstated. And that's why we're able to be in positions like this that we're able to be in.
Her teammates, however, were not silent. After the game, Sydney Colson unleashed a verbal barrage, calling out the officials for failing to protect players. She specifically pointed out how Kelsey Mitchell is constantly subjected to brutal physicality with no whistles, but her most damning comment hinted at something much darker. She spoke about how it feels like players are not just competing, but are forced to survive an assault on the court. That single phrase resonated across the league, giving voice to a frustration that players have felt for years, but have often been too afraid to say out loud.
What prop bet did you place prior to suiting up tonight? What's the over/under, and are you concerned with a specific outcome? The officials in the WNBA, yes, they're incompetent, yes, they're trash, but it always seems like there's some shady, they're so bad and so incompetent, it seems like there's shady business taking place behind the scenes. If the WNBA needs to investigate in anything, if somebody needs to investigate in anything regarding the WNBA, it's about how dirty the hands are of the officials.
Together, Clark's silent fury and Colson's explosive words transformed this from a simple game into a league-wide crisis. When the most marketable and visible player in the world puts officiating on blast, it's no longer just a debate among fans. It becomes a headline on every sports show in the country. Clark's immense platform amplifies every issue she touches, and by aligning her frustration with a respected veteran like Colson, the message became undeniable. This wasn't just sour grapes, it was a unified cry for accountability from a team that felt cheated.
How dirty are the hands of some of these players that are in this league? Oh yeah, tonight's the night I'm just gonna go 2 for 13. Oh, hey, it's the WNBA. I can slide into 2 for 13 and nobody will bat an eyelash. I can shoot 5 for 22 and nobody would really think twice because it happens so.
Just as this controversy reached its boiling point, whispers of Clark's return began to surface, adding a whole new layer of drama to the story. Fans spotted her in Los Angeles, not just sitting on the bench, but on the court during pre-game shoot-arounds, moving fluidly and knocking down jumpers. After weeks of being sidelined with a nagging groin injury, this was the first real sign that her return was no longer a distant hope, but an imminent reality. The sight of her back on the court, even in a limited capacity, sent a jolt of electricity through the fan base. The Fever organization is being intensely secretive about her official return date, refusing to give a timeline. This calculated silence is only fueling the speculation, turning every practice report and pre-game clip into a source of massive debate. This mystery is strategic, building a level of anticipation that is palpable. Every team left on their schedule is now on high alert, forced to prepare for the possibility of facing a reloaded Fever squad at any moment. The question is no longer if Clark will return, but when and what will happen to the league when she does.
You know, it wasn't ideal in terms of how the game was. It was ugly. We had moments where we were better than others, but we dug in. I mean, when you think about key defensive stops, key offensive rebounds, like AB's key offensive rebound there at the end, making plays, deflections that led to steals or deflections that led to bobbled passes, just the sense of urgency that we played with in those last minutes through some gray area, right? Through some times when it wasn't perfect. And, it was a gut check time, and our team stepped up to the challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The thought of what this team could become is a terrifying prospect for the rest of the WNBA. The Fever have spent the last few weeks proving they can win ugly, gutting-out victories through sheer toughness and defensive grit, even without their best player. They are battle-tested and resilient. Now imagine inserting a generational offensive talent like Caitlin Clark back into that lineup, a player who can stretch defenses to their breaking point and create opportunities for everyone else on the floor. It's a combination that could transform them from a scrappy playoff contender into a legitimate dark horse.
Good job, ladies! I'm really proud of you guys. That was an ugly, hard-fought win. Hard-fought win. And listen, we know that we didn't play our best basketball, and in those moments where we needed a stop, or we needed a big bucket, that you don't teach. And y'all got it. So again, marrying our energy effort with our execution. Okay, that's our journey. But this is a hard win right here. I'm proud of you guys. Great job. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Together.
This win over the Sparks wasn't just about moving up in the standings. It was a declaration. The Fever proved they have the heart of a champion, capable of overcoming adversity, injuries, and even officiating that feels corrupt. But the question that now hangs over the entire league is a heavy one. As Caitlin Clark prepares to make her highly anticipated return, is this team's incredible resilience enough to overcome the WNBA's biggest flaw? Or will their storybook season be ultimately decided not by the players on the court, but by the whistles of the referees who seem determined to stand in their way?